Hello YouTube, it's your boy B3 here, back another kicking graphic novel review. Got Naughty Cat snuggling me right here. But today we're doing the next Green Lantern book that I have. I've already done several New 52 Green Lantern books, not all in order. But I just reviewed the first two, and now we're on the third one, Green Lantern Volume 3, The End of the New 52. Geoff Johns, Doug Mahnke, you know, some of my favorite names in comics. But I'll read the back here for you. Hal Jordan is dead! And only the new Green Lantern can save him. Green Lantern Hal Jordan is no more. His powering is passed on to an unlikely new bearer, car thief and suspected terrorist Simon Baz. Though wrongfully accused, Simon is on the run from the U.S. government and the Justice League, hoping to use his newfound power to clear his name. But with the Green Lantern Corps' master, the Guardians of the Universe, gone mad and turning against the Lanterns, Simon is largely on his own and in way over his head trying to set things right. Can Earth's newest untrained Green Lantern pull off an incredible heist and steal Hal Jordan out of the land of the dead? Nearly a decade in the making, Green Lantern in the end sees visionary writer Geoff Johns bid farewell to the character and concept he redefined for a new generation, creating one of the definitive superhero sagas of the new millennium. It's the epic conclusion you've been waiting for, featuring stunning art by superstar Doug Mahnke and other comic greats. Collects Green Lanterns 13 through 20. It's about $19.99 USA. You can probably get it cheaper from that easily. You can probably get it cheaper than that now. I don't know. I got mine cheaper than that. But I was sad to see Geoff Johns go. I read these when they were coming out on single issue. I was really sad to see Geoff Johns go. Especially since the next volume after this maybe ain't so great. So, let's dig in. Anyways, Hal and Sinestro are defeated and transported to the land of the dead, even though they aren't actually dead. I think the Zero issue is also in here. Green Lantern Zero, I'm pretty sure, is in here too. Anyways, they're transported to the land of the dead. Simon Baz becomes the new Green Lantern, but not before he's arrested for terrorism. So he stole a car that was under a bridge, because he's had a rough life of profiling. And he was just a child. 9/11 happened, so he's been profiled his whole life. It's been pretty awful. He was kind of a Fast and Furious type. He would race cars, and then he got desperate after his brother wrecked and was in a coma. So he stole this van. The van just happened to be full of explosives. Uh-oh, that's what happens when you steal vans from under bridges. So now it looks like the Arab man is driving a van full of explosives, yet it looks bad. So he drives it into the old shut-down car factory he was laid off from, blows it up, and then he's in trouble because it looks like he blew up the factory that laid him off as revenge. And of course, he is being profiled. Now, there are two guys on his case interrogating him. One of them, he's not Islamophobic. He's being fair. I mean, it looks bad, right? And then the other guy's like straight up mad. And Simon confesses to stealing the car, but he's like, I didn't blow up that place. But the ring comes to him, and he gets out. And the Third Army's killing people. And there's a message that Sinestro and Hal recorded onto the ring. But there's messages recorded over each other, so it's not very clear. It says, message playing error, I am Sinestro, I am Hal Jordan, you have been chosen because you can overcome great fear. The ring will say all sorts of stuff. Whatever it does, don't go to Oa. The Guardians will destroy you. You have to trust no one. The other humans. Archilo still works for me. Carol Ferris is in Coast City. Release me. Get back up. Stop the Guardians. So they're talking over each other. And now he's a fugitive, which makes him look even worse. But he's not sure what to do about that. But he does go to his sister, and he's like, sis, you gotta help me here. And she's like, I'm in trouble now because of what you did. Because, like, of course, since he did that, she's being profiled. And his brother-in-law's still in a coma, his bestie, his homie. And then the Justice League confronts him, and they're like, hey, you're a terrorist with the Green Lantern ring. And he's like, no, I'm just a thief with a Green Lantern ring. So he has a little scuffle with them. Outsmarts the Justice League, which is pretty dope. And then the Guardians are talking to the First Lantern, and they're using him to like power their third army, but that's weakening his prism, which is not going to be good. So that's that. But to escape the Justice League, he makes a bunch of construct cars and drives away in one of them, and then the Justice League is going to all the fake cars trying to find him, and it's really pretty cool. But once again, Third Army turning people into zombie motherfuckers. Also turning Green Lanterns into zombie motherfuckers. It's getting bad. Like, the whole universe is being converted into the Third Army. And so Simon Baz goes to this dude's house while he's investigating it, and it turns out the van belonged to a white terrorist, which makes sense. Most terrorists are white. He tries to shoot Simon, but of course he can't because he's got the Green Lantern power. And one of the guys that was investigating Simon actually shows up at the house also, sees that Simon is innocent. I mean, Simon's still guilty of stealing a car and also escaping prison. But he sees that Simon's innocent of this crime, but then the Third Army attacks, and they end up having to blow up the house, as well as all the evidence that Simon is not a terrorist, which is uh-oh. And then Tomar Ray is guiding Hal and Sinestro through the land of the dead, or whatever. And then Badge comes to Simon, and Badge is kind of training Simon a bit. And, you know, Badge is the squirrel. The first squirrel was Chip. Now we got Badge. Badge! But, yeah, he tells them about Hal and Sinestro and the Green Lanterns. And he's like, your ring can do almost anything. And he's like, almost anything, huh? So he's like, I can use my ring to wake my brother up from his coma. And Badge is like, that's not how the ring works. But Simon does it anyway. He is able to wake his brother up from the coma. And Badge is like, holy shit, you shouldn't have been able to do that. That's crazy. So Simon's got a shit ton of will. A shit ton of will. He's actually done a lot of things that other Green Lanterns considered impossible. But he still carries a gun at this point in time. He's gotten rid of it in Rebirth, but he still carries a gun at this point in time because he's not sure about his ring. He doesn't trust his ring. But that's what got Avon Sur killed, so he needs to start trusting his ring. He has a scuffle with Black Hand in the vault. The First Lantern gets free, which is like, uh-oh. You know, Volthoom. We've actually reviewed several books with Volthoom in them. And then Simon's stuck in the land of the dead also. And to get out of the land of the dead, Hal Jordan decides, hey, I need to fucking kill myself. So, some crazy stuff happens. Sinestro finds his way out with Simon, but they leave Hal behind, which is why Hal kills himself in there, because Hal's not technically dead, he's just trapped in the land of the dead. Right? But we'll see where that leads later. And then Volthoom is like fucking with Sinestro and destroys Sinestro's home planet, which was crazy. What a crazy moment that was. Because Sinestro like beat him, and then Volthoom just rewound time a little bit and then kicked Sinestro's ass. And Sinestro was like, I can't beat him with the power I have now, so Sinestro gives up his green ring for the yellow ring once again. So that's how Sinestro became a Yellow Lantern again. Obviously, he's always going to return to the status quo of being a Yellow Lantern eventually. I think right now, when I'm recording this in comics, he's a Ultraviolet Lantern, or whatever. Which is pretty freaking awesome. But yeah, the Green Lantern Corps and everyone fighting Volthoom. He's kicking everybody's ass. The Red Lanterns show up. Everybody shows up. The New Guardians show up. Every member of every Corps shows up. Fucking Mogo. Everybody shows up to fight Volthoom. He's kicking all they asses. And since Hal killed himself, he became a Black Lantern. And then he's able to lead a Legion of the Dead against Volthoom. Right? Which is crazy. Sinestro releases Parallax from the Yellow Lantern and then becomes the new host for Parallax, but Sinestro has such control of fear that he can control Parallax, which is awesome. Like, this was one of the greatest finales of all time. This was so good. And then Hal summons Necron to fight Volthoom directly. Necron slices Volthoom in half. All kinds of crazy stuff happens. Hal comes back to life. Becomes a Green Lantern again. Sinestro takes control over his Corps again. He has another fight with Hal. And then Sinestro kills the Guardians of the Universe. Dead. Which was really the only way this could end. But he saves one for Atrocitus, out of respect. Because Atrocitus, his whole thing is that he wanted to kill the Guardians. So Sinestro saved him one, which was probably more tactical than it was emotional. Because, like, if he didn't let Atrocitus kill one, Atrocitus might have come after him directly for vengeance. And Atrocitus also kind of had some vengeance against Sinestro that he wanted. So that was more probably tactical on Sinestro's side than anything. But then those Guardians that have been locked away, who still have their emotions and stuff, are going to take over. But they don't really know how the universe works anymore. They've been locked up for thousands of years, millions of years, billions of years. So they gotta come back. And then we get a fast forward, a little flash forward of what the Lantern's gonna be like. Guy Gardner's gonna become an old bruiser. He's gonna still be getting mad chicks in his 60s, kicking both. He one punches Bolfunga in a bar, and he owns his bar and is very successful. Jon Stewart becomes a state senator. Fatality. He marries her, I believe. Kyle Rayner stays a White Lantern until he runs out of the white light. He becomes a great healer. Simon Baz becomes a great Green Lantern. It also name drops Jessica Cruz for the first time. Talks about Atrocitus, Larfleeze, Saint Walker, the Indigo Tribe. It shows Hal getting married to Carol, having a kid. Obviously, most of this stuff isn't even going to happen anymore because Kyle Rayner's not a White Lantern, and all kinds of crazy stuff. But yeah, it's a good little story though. But Sinestro did save Ganthet and brought him back to Syed, who was working for Larfleeze. So, Sinestro trades him Larfleeze a secret for Syed's freedom. And Larfleeze was like, secrets don't taste as good as rat waffle cheese. Well, rat waffle cheese actually sounds pretty gross. But it was really dope. This was a great end to Geoff Johns' run. One of my favorite run endings of all time. From my favorite comic run of all time. Green Lantern Volume 3, The End, from the New 52. Definitely check this out. The art is great. After this and a little Justice League of America, we kind of forgot about Simon Baz until Rebirth. He's got a big presence in Rebirth, but they forgot about him for a while. DC just kind of forgot about Simon. But yeah, that's it. So we're moving on. Moving on to Volume 4, I guess. But thank you all very much for your support. Remember to rate, comment, and subscribe. Check out all the cool links in the description below. Facebook, Twitter, etc. And I'll be seeing y'all later.